This is how we would like our rivers to look, unspoiled and safe to enjoy. Beneath the surface, the reality is less idyllic. Thousands of unauthorised sewage outflows threaten river, animal and human health. A catalogue of failure, according to the regulator, that's levied huge fines on 3 companies that it insists consumers won't have to pay for.
We set the prices that water companies can charge. There is absolutely no provision for fines. So I want to be very clear with customers, they will not be paying towards fines. These fines sit with companies and their investors.
3 companies face potential fines of £168 million. Thames Water was hit with a proposed record penalty of £104 million. Yorkshire Water could pay £47 million and Northumbrian Water £17 million. Endurance swimmer Laura braves the Thames near Henley every day and has been campaigning to clean up the river for years.
I think we'll take it as a win. After years and years of campaigning that shouldn't have been left up to charities, community groups and NGOs to call out the inaction of the regulators and water companies.
Thames Water says it will cooperate with Ofwat, but warned that any penalty will have to be affordable. A reminder that this is a company in deep financial trouble that needs to win over the city as well as its customers.
Thames Water is facing a record fine at the same time as it tries to persuade investors to pour billions of pounds into a company that is drowning in debt and says it will run out of cash in 9 months' time. So every pound it has to spend for not cleaning up the rivers makes that a harder sell and the company's future less certain.
On the riverbank, there is little faith in Thames Water.
About time, but not enough. They need to put all their money back into actually sorting the rivers out rather than pulling out and paying their shareholders, I think.
I don't trust Thames Water at all.
Yorkshire Water and Northumbrian Water both say they're disappointed with the ruling and will contest the fines. They may not be the last. All the other monopoly providers in England and Wales are also under investigation. Paul Kelso, Sky News.
State of affairs, and I think that this report is really important in giving this message in a crystal clear way to government that the way that we have been managing and governing our rivers up until now is not acceptable. Too many rivers are failing good ecological health. Only 14% of rivers in England have good ecological health, and it's really not good enough. So we're seeing way too much pollution getting into our rivers from agriculture, from towns, from road runoff, and from water companies as well. And this report is calling for dramatic changes and a rethink in how we do this.
What will bring about those dramatic changes then? What's it a case of? Better regulation, better monitoring, prosecution?
Absolutely, all of those. And I think what this report highlights is it's trying to really catch us up with the best science and understanding. So, it highlights that we've got outdated and inadequate monitoring and enforcement and regulation at the moment. It's echoing a lot of the calls that the Rivers Trust and environmental groups have been making for a long time, that we need to see much more joined up planning around new activities that are going to happen in catchments, as well as stronger enforcement and holding to account polluters, making sure that the fines that they receive really hurt their bottom line. And there are some great ideas that have been incorporated into this, such as nutrient budgets for catchments, so that we're not going to see a continued planning for failure in the first instance where we have to then come in and regulate and clean up. Let's get the planning right first, make sure enforcement is watertight and rock solid and polluters are held to account. And I think really importantly, it also opens the door for citizen scientists and for local catchment groups, catchment partnerships to play a much more active role in monitoring and in helping to ensure good governance of our catchments and our river systems.
I know there are some examples, such as sections of the River Wye, which have seen big improvements when everybody has worked together, and that includes the public. How can the public get involved and make a difference?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously there's a lot that we can do in our own homes. It highlights the problem of fatbergs, where people are pouring too much oil and grease down their sink. It also supports the new bill on banning plastics in single-use wet wipes as well. Those shouldn't be flushed down the toilet. But so there's our own actions at home, but then there's also getting involved in the better monitoring and governance of a catchment. At the Rivers Trust, we are starting a big citizen science program where the kind of measurements that citizens on their own local rivers will take could then be admissible, and where they're following a recognised guideline to make it scientifically defensible. This means that we can have much more data on our rivers around the country.
Christine Colvin from the Rivers Trust, thank you very much for talking to us.